Hi, welcome to Beyond Connections, the art of meaningful LinkedIn engagement, your go to podcast on how to engage in meaningful connections. I'm your host, Prem Kumar AS, today, and we'll explore how connections shape your engagement. A special welcome to all tuned into Power of Knowing Forums Leadership, Women Leadership Special Episode 2025, 225, live on LinkedIn. We are celebrating women leadership in the month of March, where we talk about her voice, her power, her story, her impact. We are honored to have Dr. Sneha Sharma, your spotlight coach, ATS resume writer, LinkedIn brand expert, confident coach. Join us. Let's drive in and bring our esteemed speaker onto the podcast event. Hi, Sneha. Dr. Hi, Dr. Sneha. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much for having me, sir. A very good evening. Greetings of the day to everyone.
Let's dive into the topic of meaningful LinkedIn engagements. When we talk about beyond likes and comments, what does a meaningful engagement on LinkedIn look to you, Dr. Sneha?
That's a very relevant question, sir, because in the current scenario, people are too much behind. I mean, they're running behind the vanity metrics, how many likes they have, how many followers they have. So LinkedIn is a place, and we usually, people whose bread and butter is LinkedIn, they would say that LinkedIn is a gold mine. And the reason they say that is because LinkedIn is not about likes and comments. You might have maybe only 10 people liking your post, commenting on your post, but that two or three people can end up becoming your biggest clients. So I would suggest that true engagement is about sparking conversations that add value to the community. So it's when somebody reads my post, they reflect on it, they
Hmm.
share their perspective. It could be through a comment. At times people don't comment, they send me a DM, right? Because that is where they feel that they connect with me, and what kind of actions they want to take in their career, considering if I'm doing a career related post. So meaningful engagement will happen when people feel heard. You speak what they want to be, presenting. They feel inspired and probably compelled to do something which is beyond scrolling, because it's like you're getting their attention, that it's not just a like. And even if it's a like, then also you're making them do it, because otherwise they would just scroll up and move, to the next part of what they can have on the platform. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. See, as you rightly said, many of the pointers is we we share a lot of things, but we don't engage into that kind of a post or a article that is created. What to how do we nurture those connection into real time and long term relationships? When we you told a point where you said maybe it's not only link likes and comments. How do we take it beyond likes and comments?
So I'll tell you what I do. So I usually follow up with personalized messages,
Mm,
right? So if I read your content and we are not connected, the first thing I would do is I'll send you a personalized invite where I tell you that I read your post and I would really appreciate if we connect. So that
mm,
is the level where you actually tell somebody that I liked what you did. Otherwise, if I write a post and I get, let's say, 6,000 likes, I don't even know who these 6,000 people are. What I remember is those 10 people who sent me a DM that,
mm.
ma'am, we read your post and it has helped us to do this and that. So I believe in, I feel the major mantra that I live with is giving before answering, asking anything. So I engage with their work. Somebody has posted something, I'll engage with their work. I'll try to introduce them to relevant people, genuinely help them. So it's more like when you want anything out from this platform, it has to be done by genuinely connecting with people.
No, I think you gave me two pointers here. On the first pointer that I want to look at itself is likes and comments and personalized connect when you like a post or something. Now, LinkedIn is a tool, but how do you make it truly human? Because if you can share a personal story where LinkedIn interaction that changed your perspective on a professional relationship, because people connect after that, we don't talk to them. There are a lot of people who connect. After that, how do I engage with them is a bigger question.
So I'll tell you, the essence of doing any interaction is first of all understanding whom are you connecting with, why do you want to connect with them, what is the agenda behind. So for example, a job seeker messages me, right, after he has read and seen my content for many many months, right, that he's struggling with his confidence in interviews. So what did I really do? I asked him that don't book a strategy call, etc., which is the normal sales pitch. I rather asked him, tell me what is the struggle. I guided him with a couple of personalized answer, and eventually he ended up clearing that particular role. So for him, he was following my content, and he had the faith, and he took that step of engaging with me, talking to me and telling me that I have been reading your content, I have been implementing, but it's not giving me the kind of results I want. So all anything that happens on LinkedIn is because it will only give you results when you know why do you want to talk to somebody, why should you connect with the person, what is it that you really want to, number one, you can help them with, and then number two, what is the value that you could draw through them. It has to be vice versa, then only you will be able to take it to a level where you'll be able to make human connections, because we are living in a world where it's all AI, so you don't really know that the comment that you're reading, is it somebody really who wrote it, or is it just an algorithm who was told that how to write a comment on general comment, and that's what you're reading. So even the messages could go like that. So it
Hmm.
is like when you want to build a one to one professional connection, it has to be done with the human touch. And as far as a personal story is concerned, I think for me, if I say, LinkedIn has got me things which I would not have approached. I would have thought, Abhi to I am not, that huge. Why would these people would like to have me onboarded for this kind of thing? But because I was religiously creating content, I was sure about my niche, that what is it that I want to talk about. So when we say personal branding, that LinkedIn is a personal branding tool, the first thing we ask everyone to do is, what is your personal branding goal? What do you want to be known for? Who am I? What do I do? So who am I? I'm a career spotlight coach. I'm somebody who helps people in getting spotlight in their careers or their businesses, for founders. That is what I do. So somebody who's been reading my content month over month over month, they have a credibility in their mind that okay, this is what this person does, and then they take that extra step, or I take that extra step to connect with them at a human level, and then build it and take it to the second level.
Uh, Again, important point how to build stuff. But what's one strategy that you use to ensure content resonates emotionally with your audience? Because whatever you post does matter, right? And they have to resonate with it. So your take on it, Dr. Sneha.
I mean, the answer is same, quite similar to what I said earlier. You need to know who are you writing for. If
Hmm.
you know who are you writing for, you know what are their pain points. If you are helping somebody with what they are struggling with, they would love to engage with your content. And your question, how do you emotionally connect with them? Storytelling is the answer. Tell them real relatable stories, something that they know that हाँ ऐसे ही होता है, this is what happens to me, and this is how it has either happened to my friend or it has happened to me. Because it's basically emotions which drive engagement. And if you follow the platform a bit, the most viral content would usually be which is a very very emotional story, which could be in form of a video, or it could be just the content, but it is so deep that people resonate it. So the more that resonates is going to be the more emotional connection that it will help you build.
Great pointers there. I think I am learning a lot in these two, three questions itself. What role does vulnerability play on LinkedIn engagement? Can you show vulnerability? Can showing vulnerability help leaders build stronger connections? Because when you're vulnerable, people don't tend to connect with you. They feel, oh, this guy is a senior guy, or this
Right.
guy will not react. So, how do you take this pointer, Dr. Sneh?
So see, if you know who is listening to you, if you
Mm.
know what are their struggles, what are their pain points, and if you share your real stories in the storytelling format, vulnerability automatically becomes a part. Because if someone talks about everything is success, 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 we all know that can never be the truth.
Yeah.
So, vulnerability is where people relate to struggles more than success. They are reading your content because there is some struggle right now. Because if they are successful, they would be creating. They're reading because
Mm.
they're wanting something. There's some next level that they want to have. So when leaders share their setbacks, when you as a thought leader share a lesson, when you share that I also had this doubt when I was going for my first job interview, I also had this doubt when I tried to pitch a high ticket product to one of my clients, they relate. Okay, okay, it happens to them also. Oh, that means I'm normal. So let me see how I can curb this by listening to their advice. So vulnerability, it's not about having it or not having it. It is very powerful. It's just about being honest to your audience. Vulnerability will automatically become a part, because then you're open to share the failures and the success that comes after that.
I think what you said is I'll resonate because I think today I'm getting a lot of information about LinkedIn. Okay, so the pointer that I wanted to check also was we we are connected in today's world. We are connected in the hyper connected world, right? So it is connected to everything and anything. So what are the common mistakes while we are connected all over that executives fall into while engaging with their especially network people on LinkedIn? You have few people on hundreds when connections, when you have people with lakhs of connections. Now if I have to reach a person who has a lakh plus connections, I hesitate. So how do you look at this, Stan?
LinkedIn is actually always a two-way street. Yet again, if you're trying to connect with a 1 lakh plus or a 10 lakh plus, if you're trying to connect for your own benefit, believe me, people can smell it even through digital sense. And okay, why is this person approaching me? So the more genuine you are, the more are the chances of people connecting with you. Number two, LinkedIn is an algorithm. I always tell people that don't treat this as another person. LinkedIn is not a person who likes your post one day and he doesn't like your post the other day. It's an algorithm. It
Okay.
works on numbers, it works on how people are reacting to your content. So, when you are writing, when you are posting, or when you are reading somebody's post, the more you engage on the platform, the more credibility you build. I have seen so many people who they understood that posting is important. So they would post and then they'll go away. No one knows why they posted, who they posted, no back comment, replies, nothing doing. So it will not work. When you are there, you should be there for a while, nourishing the platform. That is what makes it human. That is where the connection will develop. Otherwise, posting content, so we have newspapers to read, content. So writing articles and LinkedIn is not same, right? The only benefit you get is that you are able to connect. Real time engagement is what you get on LinkedIn, and that has to be the strongest pillar for anyone, because very true, we are in a hyper connected world. Everyone is connected to everything. So I
Mhm.
think human connection is the most important part, and that can only be done when you treat it as a two way. So you post, you engage back, somebody else post, you engage with them, so that the platform gives you the right kind of push.
Pointer taken there. Now with that, the human touch is often lost in online transactions, right? And how do we ensure your posts or comments reflect your genuine self rather than a corporate facade? Because you mentioned something some time back saying that it can be an algorithm which is responding to your point, or it is going to be a AI bot or something that is going to respond to your some of the bots posts, right? So how do we look at this pointer, Sneha?
Uh, so I think LinkedIn, if you see specifically, for last couple of months is pushing a lot on video content. because that AI can't do. Okay, so it's me speaking, so it's me speaking. Although there is technology where I am not recording myself and I've just given a couple of videos and then my videos are created using different technologies, but still some part of connectivity is there when it is human face visible to you. So human touch is important. I have also experimented with the video content. It gives amazing results. But if someone is not very keen to do that, then probably when you're posting or you're writing any comments, keep it simple. Keep it the way you would speak, because there are also people out there who know you personally. They know that you speak, very simple English, and then you're putting some good heavy complex words and they're like, कौन है ये? मतलब, why is this is not the Sneha we know, discussion sake, right? Or it could be the other way, that you talk really very poised kind of a language and then you're using very, very, very simple basic kind of thing. So that is why LinkedIn is not just a networking platform, it's a personal branding platform. And personal brand is not just LinkedIn, it is about me as a person. What do I do? What is the kind of words I do? What is the kind of language I use? Few people have always, negative connotation. They would always address the negative first. Few people would always address the positive first. Few people would be very diplomatic. And that should come out of their post. That should come out of their comments, so that you can relate with the person who is behind those posts and the comments happening.
How do we look at, see, you said there should be kind of a balance that has to be. I would like to understand what is the balance between professional polish and authenticity.
Uh, I think probably if you are being authentic with your audience, if you know what is your audience, who your audience is. For discussion, my audience is very clean and clear because I know I'm a coach,
Hmm.
right? For somebody else who's an executive leader, who's a CXO, who's a MD, for them, the more clarity they have about who are they writing for, the more authentic they would be. And the more authentic they are, I think, whether it's a professional story that you're sharing or if it's a personal story you're sharing, people would always resonate. Because for a CXO level, the personal story will not be the same for a fresher. Because of the number of years of experience that have happened in their careers, their personal lives have also changed. So I think I try to keep a mix of both, because personal stories is where emotional connection happens. Professional stories are where you give them value bombs. Okay, I did this way, it worked or it did not work. So you give them the clarity of what they could go ahead and try to do. So I think that way, if we approach, it definitely, gets you that sweet spot where everything falls in place.
From your experience, how do you differentiate between surface level connections and those who have potential collaborations?
Uh, I think this would more or less depend upon how well I have researched about my own brand. So
Hmm.
that, do I have the clarity about my ICP? Who's my ideal customer? Whom do I really want to reach out? Because technically, my surface level can somebody's high ticket. It
Hmm.
just depends on, because every person has all the value in the world. Some, for somebody it could be a low ticket product, for somebody it could be a high ticket fun, or it could be a potential collaboration or a completely irrelevant connection. It
Hmm.
depends upon who is your target. Why do you want to connect with whom? Once you have that clarity, then the surface level, the potential will depend upon the end goal you want to achieve. So, for discussion's sake, somebody wants to climb up the career ladder, right? And let's say they are into the analytics domain. So, if
Hmm.
they want to grow, they connecting with coaches, or they connecting with people who are maybe in real estate, may not give them the best results. They have to target whom? They have to find people who are into analytics, who have the insights where people can look up to them for their services, for what they can bring to the table. So it's on me, it's my responsibility to find out the right set of people I want to connect with. So if you go and check my profile, I just have 9,000 connections. I have over 1,37,000 followers, but connections are only 9,000. I only add those people to my network who are potential for collaboration. Rest everyone can follow me. I can be motivating a lot of people. Maybe they don't need any help from me, but it's just that when I speak, they find it to be a happy thing to listen to, which is fine. So that means they are not the potential collaborators, or if they are, then they would reach out to me, or I would do the research on their profiles, that okay, so I've seen Prem Kumar's profile, so he's into this, I can help them in doing these things, let me build a connection with him. So whether it's Sneha connecting to Prem Kumar or it is Prem Kumar connecting to Sneha, it will always happen at a one to one level where the clarity is there, at least with one of them, that why are we connecting.
Very important point. Given that LinkedIn is a professional space, how do we balance that personal story and a professional insight in our posts? Because at times, I'll give my example. What at times I do write on technology, at times I write on some of the leadership pointers, I write on cybersecurity at times, right? So, how do we look at the balance there between professional and the personal stories?
Right. So I think I choose being authentic. So if I have something which is so called a personal story, but I know that people who are my audience feel this or have gone through this, there is no harm in sharing that. And plus, when you share a mix of personal and professional stories, it doesn't sound robotics, right? Because otherwise, a robot will only talk about what is available in terms of the content on Google, right? Or any other, follow DeepSeek or GPTs, whatever. But personal is which I have experienced, so no one else knows. I only have, felt it. So when you share your personal story, you build your authenticity, that you're talking about it. So I think personal stories help you build authenticity, professional stories help you build authority, and they are both needed to create credibility. So authenticity, authority will lead to credibility is what I think it that
I
way.
I love this authenticity, accountability, right? Which becomes your credibility. Okay, have I rephrased it correctly? Authenticity plus accountability is what you said.
Authority,
Authority.
authority.
Okay.
Because when I share my views, people see me as the authoritative figure, as a thought leader कि अच्छा इसको पता है. So
Mhm,
authority.
mhm, mhm,
Authentic is when I'm sharing a real time something, where they build connecting to me emotional level. And because they feel that okay, this is a person, and this
mhm.
person talks about this particular aspect, that creates my credibility in their eyes, that okay, this is authentic genuine person who talks about these parameters. So this is, that is where the connection moves to the next level.
Wonderful. Now, what is one red flag that signals a connection may not be valuable as it seems? Because there are, again, I'll bring back the technology side of it, because AI brings in a lot of bot connections that can be added to one profile and see. How do we look at this pointer from your this one, Sneha?
So like I shared, there is no point connecting to people
Mm-hmm.
who do not fall into the category of your potential collaboration.
Okay.
My suggestion is LinkedIn offers creator mode to everyone. Keep
Mm-hmm.
your creator mode on. Don't keep the follow button as your main connection button, so that if anyone wants to follow you, even if it's robots, that's okay, let them follow you. There's no harm robots following you if someone wants to follow you through their robots.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a connection, then you have the option to accept or reject it. So before accepting a connection invite, I think we must go and visit that profile instead of just pressing accept, accept, accept. Review the profile, review the potential credibility of the person. And honestly, at this stage, when I get a lot of connection requests every day, I really do not open a connection request if it is without a personalized invite. Because if you do not know why you're connecting with me, I have no interest in connecting with you. Because if you're reaching out to someone, you need to tell them who you are.
Hmm.
Just with your photograph, I can't make out who you are. So you have to share that, hey Sneha, I heard your podcast on Join the C Suit Talks, Elevate Your Leadership Journey today on Power of Knowing Forum. It was great listening to you. Would love to connect with you. So this at least tells me how does this person relate with me? Does he even have any idea of what I do? So I
Hmm.
think that is how, if you choose your connections, then I think it will be never a red flag entering into a zone where you don't want them to be in.
Okay, got it. Now coming to that, as we are into the C-suite and leadership side of this one, what is one piece of advice you would give to start out LinkedIn in terms of building a meaningful presence? Because everybody has a connection in LinkedIn nowadays, right? But how are they presented? How are they looking at their LinkedIn profile wise, or how do they present themselves?
So I think, irrespective of whether you're a C-suite leader or whether you're a fresher or whether you're a founder or a coach, I think I keep circling back to the same thing because my core understanding about anything in life, Prem, is three things. First is clarity. I
Mhm.
need to be clear with what I'm wanting to do. And there is no limit to what I can do. I can choose anything. In the economy where we live, people are making money by doing anything and everything which is possible. So, what is possible has no cap nowadays. So, one is the clarity of what I want to do. Second is I start building my content on that clarity. That, okay, I have decided to do these two things. Now, for these two things, I will create content. I will build my authenticity. I will build my credibility. Once I build that, LinkedIn is the platform where you get to digitally communicate it. So, communicating is the third C. So, it's clarity, it's content, and it's communication. And when you do these three things together, people find you confident. So when somebody comes to me and asks, okay, say I'm not confident, there's one of the C is missing. Either they don't know how to communicate, either they don't have the clarity of what they want to communicate, or they don't have the content. आप बोलते बहुत अच्छा है पर आपको पता नहीं है आपने क्या बोलना है. It doesn't matter how good a speaker you are, you don't know what you have to speak. So as a leader, if you're starting out on LinkedIn for creating your presence, clarity.
Hmm.
What? Do I want to create a thought leadership profile? If yes, what sector? What domain? And then start by supporting others. Engage with the content, understand the algorithm, hota kya hai, chalta kya hai, kaise ho raha hai. And once you get hold of that, then would be the next step where you could then move on to, start posting and share your thought leadership on the platform.
Oh, with that question, I have another follow-up question on it. How do you suggest that they stand out in the crowd space? Because LinkedIn has a large number of connect people there, right? The whole world is linked. Now, how do you specifically stand out of the crowd?
Right. So that's a good one. So I would say by being themselves, that's it. You need to have your unique voice. You need to know, because I'm not the only career coach in the world. I'm
Hmm.
not the only one. There are what, maybe millions maybe out there on LinkedIn if we take today globally. But as a coach, what is my USP? What do I stand for? What is my brand statement? And then I communicate that with the help of my insights on my post. I do that with my personal storytelling. That is where they come to know that. See, I always tell everyone that no one in this world is wrong. It's
Hmm.
some people might find Sneha wrong, some people might find Prem Kumar wrong, some people might find that they're the best at what they are doing, they're the perfect people in the world. So it is all a game of perception. It is for you to understand your uniqueness. And when I say uniqueness, I say it's YOU uniqueness instead of you uniqueness. So you find your unique trait, you communicate that trait, and that's how you stand out. Because you don't have to make everyone your fan. You have to, I mean, in the time we are living, it's not about making a fan following, it's about community building. So what you are doing here today is not making a fan following, this is building a community. 225 episodes is not a joke, it's your commitment to the community who looks forward to this, that okay, what he's going to bring, somebody who's going to add value. So it's not about creating 10 lakh people, liking it. And eventually they might end up becoming 10 lakh or maybe 10 crores. But right now, what you as a person, as a brand called Knowledge Forum or Power of Knowledge Forum is doing is building a community. And LinkedIn is about building that community of yours, of close knit people who understand who you are, what is your brand about, what do you talk about, and that is where the personal connect comes into action.
Wonderful. Lot of insights, Dr. Sneha. I think I'll change the way I look at LinkedIn also, because I've been doing things on LinkedIn which are not maybe rightly aligned to what you're saying. Maybe
Okay.
about 30-40% is not aligned for what I am doing. The rest, I think, looks aligned. I'll reevaluate about what I am doing. Okay. In that, in your opinion, how can executives use LinkedIn to shift narrative around leadership, especially in the digital age, right? So everything is so connected. So how do we look at the shift of narrative around the leadership? And
um,
also, to take one point, I just want to add, because leadership and management have become topics that are so vast now. I don't know where to start and where to end, right? So that's the point that I want to look at, where the narrative is going to be the shift for it.
so when anyone comes to me about what personal branding strategy should they have,
Mhm.
so I suggest everyone to have a goal for their thought leadership.
Mhm.
Because what you're doing on LinkedIn, you're not claiming anything. You're just sharing a thought. I feel I have done this. Based on this, these are the things that you could go ahead and do. So, if I talk about leadership, LinkedIn is the place where you can present yourself as a thought leader. Your thoughts and my thoughts could be completely opposite. But
Mhm.
then there are people who would be liking what you say, there would be people who would like what I say. So the game is not, I mean, there's nothing right or wrong in the scenario that we are living in. If you want to be on LinkedIn, you want to create a leadership profile, the best way to do it is have your thoughts authentically presented to the audience that you want to help with, or you want to cater to, or you want to add value to, right? Because everyone is on LinkedIn, and if they are on LinkedIn without a goal, this platform can give them nothing. This
Mhm.
platform will make them feel worse about whatever they think about themselves. Because if you do not know what you're looking forward from the platform, I mean, how can a computer help you? It's like sitting on a YouTube and then, wondering some song will play. It will never play because you haven't given the command. What do you really want? So whatever you want, treat this as a tool to, and you don't treat it by typing anything. You treat that by nurturing the content. You treat that by talking that way over and over and over again. So people who listen to me, they would say that okay, she says the same thing every time, the same three C's, the same authenticity. That's what I believe in, and that is why you listen to me every time, because that's what you want to listen. So it's more like, uh, keep voicing yourself out there, and you can only speak confidently about anything, Prem, when you have the clarity. Because when you have the clarity, then you would have all the content in the world, and when you have the content, nobody can stop you from speaking. Forget about any language barriers, any kind of a barrier doesn't matter, because you have that confidence inside of you that I know what I'm talking about and I'm going to push that across anyways. So I think that is one of the major things that my whole LinkedIn game, I would say, runs around.
Now, what taking this as a pointer, you said there are a lot of things that LinkedIn can help, right? So, with the right content, right questions asked, and stuff like that. What changes should leaders make in their approach to resonate more effectively with diverse audience? Because now one way is we see lot of people on, you talk about manufacturing, you talk about various divisions, like you have healthcare, you have, but when I put a post on specific, how do I see that diverse audience also are able to resonate with it?
Why would you want that? First, you tell me that. Why do you want diverse audience to know you? It's always said that uh, the money is where you have the niche or the micro niche. So
Mhm.
when you have the clarity in terms of where do you want to reach to, अभी ना मेरी क्लास चल रही है, कट कर दो इसको बेटा, इसको उधर ले जाओ. I'm so sorry.
No problem, no
Got a
problem.
buzz, yeah. So I'm so sorry. Yeah. So I was saying that whenever you have any of those you don't have to reach out to everyone, number one, because if you see today also, I mean, if you check out the list of my followers, you would only find people who are from certain categories of LinkedIn who are connected to me, maybe certain nationalities also, and to some
Mhm.
extent maybe certain uh, specific age group also, because you do not have to relate with everyone. So that is the first thing. I do not have to cater. It's like very simple example that who gets paid more, the doctor with the MBBS or a doctor with a MD, okay, who's a surgeon or who's a specialist in something. So obviously it's the specialist, right? Because then he is the specialist, so you go to the specialist because you know he can treat that particular thing very very precisely. So LinkedIn is about showcasing yourself as that specialist. What do you do if you know everything? Everything everyone knows. Where do you stand out? What is your core area? So if I am career coach, so what? Everyone is the 100 career coaches, but I say I call myself a spotlight coach. I don't use the word career coach in there. I call myself spotlight. And what is a spotlight? That's my word. That's something I've created my brand around. That's what I talk about. So you stand out. I don't want everyone to come to me because you you can't cater to everyone, Prem. You can't. It's practically impossible. With a single product, you can't sell the same product to everyone. It has to be customized, niche down for the right audience.
You are pulling out one pointer which my boss used to tell me, right? This is way off the topic that we are discussing on LinkedIn stuff, but my boss used to tell me one point is, अगर आपको हार्ट का बीमारी है तो जनरल हॉस्पिटल नहीं जाते।
बिल्कुल नहीं जाना.
तो हॉस्पिटल ढूंढो जहां आपको बीमारी का
Cardiologist,
इलाज
yeah,
हो सके एंड उसका
correct.
एक्सपर्ट मिले, रादर देन अ जनरलिस्ट। तो पहले आपको डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा आप कहाँ जाओगे। सो योर पॉइंट टेकन देयर। नाउ, with what are the emotional triggers that create the most engaging pointer on LinkedIn, and how leaders can ethically connect? Because you said, Brigade, one pointer you said that there should be something that you write on a personal thing. I went into your post, I saw that post and stuff like that. But still, if you give that kind of a thing also, where a 1 lakh or 2 lakh people connected person may not resonate or reflect whether that pointer is he's seen or not seen, also is not known at times. So how do we look at this pointer, personally?
So see, again, I think when the moment you use the word engagement, that means it's vanity metrics. You're interested to get likes. You're interested to get comments, right? So if you're
Mhm.
writing the content to get comments, it will never work that way. I'm telling you. So the first video I made a couple of weeks back, I'm sitting in my car, no idea at all. Randomly, I just shot a video and
Mhm.
it got some, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000 plus likes and some huge impressions, some good 45. I mean, I think went around 10 lakh impressions, right? I go, wow, video content is doing well.
Mhm.
Next day, I sat more, authentically sitting. Acha, this is my area. Ye karti hu, then 3,000 likes will come again. that post did not even cross 200. It didn't even cross 5,000 impressions, because now the intention was getting the vanity. The
Hmm.
next day I said, okay, I am not even thinking about, I will speak whatever I want to talk to my audience. And then after that, I did not even check how the posts are doing. I put it because the agenda is to communicate, and that then it goes out. And since then, the posts have done better than the post that I put maximum effort on. So what I'm trying to say is that for emotional triggers, when you create content adding storytelling, keeping it inspiring, keeping it relatable, keeping it empowering, motivating people that you can do it, is the right way, where you share real lessons as a leader. You don't fabricate, don't go fancy. But if you're doing it with the purpose of getting vanity, my experience has been that you don't get it. If you're going there to snatch, it will be whatever you're having will be snatched away. So it's better you go there with the agenda of giving, and that's how things are going to come better for you.
No, how can leaders avoid one pointer where some things are inspirational, right? And some are exploitation. So how do we come into avoiding some cross lines between these two,
Hmm.
inspirational and exploitation? Because they are clearly standing apart. When I get inspired, I'm looking at, but how do I get exploited, or is there something that leaders can avoid?
So I think the moment you keep everything authentic, no one can exploit you because you're authentic. You know what you're doing. So you will not be taken away with anyone saying anything good or bad. So
Hmm.
your exploitation ends. If you are planning to exploit your audience with your fancy stories that let me tell them how I made 10 lakh a month and you have never made even a 10,000 a month, then
Hmm.
you're trying to exploit them. That is also a sham. People can see through, people can read through. You only stated in the very beginning of this whole stuff that it's a hyper connected world. So
Yeah.
everyone knows. No one here invests a single penny in anyone else until they trust either the person or they have a referral. So you can't be fooled. So there is, as a leader, inspiration is the only game that you can do as a thought leader. You cannot try to exploit, because exploitation is, I think, it's against a human value itself. It's something that no one should be doing. For you to be exploited, that can only be done when you don't have any agenda on LinkedIn. So somebody tells you, आप ये करोगे मेरे साथ, इससे ये चीज हो जाएगी, like हाँ हाँ हाँ, because you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you want to achieve. Otherwise, I at times get so many offers, can we do this, can we do that? I'm like, no, I'm not here for this, I don't want to do this. I'm ready to lose the money. I'm ready to lose the fame that can come around, but it's not my agenda. So no one can come and exploit me because I know what I'm doing. I know what I want to go, what I want to deliver, what is my value system. Clear. So the more clarity you have, I think the better you're off. Anyways,
So it is more about the strategy that you follow to have something that works for you, and it resonates with you as a person, right?
correct.
So what is one mistake that you would have made early in LinkedIn journey, and how did you learn from it? Because everybody, as you rightly said, right, we do something and something does not work, right? So
Right.
any pointers in that which can help the audience?
Yeah. So I think don't run behind the vanity. It
Hmm.
will come. Mistake that I would say is that I thought that the game is posting. So post, 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 post. So the game is not posting. The game is interaction. The game is engagement. The game is being here on the network, being here on the LinkedIn and sharing what you have. Prioritizing your time for interaction instead of simply, making it a point that I come and post and you have 5 followers. 5 people don't even know you, who you are, what you do, and you think posting and then going away. No, you have to come there, be on the platform, engage, and then it's going to give you the right results.
How can you? Hi, hello. Okay. How can the others avoid making same mistakes, right? Can we guide them somewhere?
Yeah, I think prioritize on conversations, because when I started LinkedIn, ChatGPT was not there,
Hmm.
AI was not there. So it was humongous effort in terms of doing research, reading, and then creating content. Now creating content is like you don't even write, you speak to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Write this, and ChatGPT is going to give you the whole thing. And ChatGPT is one of the very basic ones. You have more advanced tools, which is like amazingly doing that job. So that means content and posting are no more the battlegrounds. Everyone has them. So
Hmm.
where do you stand out? You stand out on the conversation. You stand out not on the content. You stand out on how you speak. And I think it's a very famous line which says that people do not remember what you told them. People remember how you treat them. So you, when you treat them as an in digital word, how you treat them over conversations, how you engage with them, how do you respond to them, do you even pay attention to what they are saying? Somebody has shared a comment which you can see through that the person is in pain, is in problem. Address.
Hmm.
That's where the content will become a conversation. And I think that is where the real the real connection starts to get developed.
With that point, I have one pointer which I want to understand. How do LinkedIn discussions about leadership evolve when empathy is brought into a conversation? Because nowadays, there are people who don't empathize at all with the work that they do. So, how do we look at that?
I think, the world we live in, very few people understand the word empathy. They think empathy is sympathy. So empathy is
Hmm.
not sympathy. So they look for empathy, but what they are asking for is sympathy. So it's in the ask where the problem is. So you go out to a coach and you tell them that I do not have a job and I need help and XYZ. Where is empathy in this? You are asking for sympathy, that see, I am in a terrible situation. Can you help me?
Hmm.
That's not the game. The game is for being empathetic. If that person comes to me, so me sympathizing with them would be, oh, that's so sad. I am sure you will get a job, do this, do that. No. Empathy is where you help them real time. Okay, where are you stuck? What is your problem? Where are the problem areas that you're facing? So when you help them to navigate through that problem that they are facing, that is where empathy comes into picture, and that is where your leadership gets developed. Now somebody comes to me and says, I do not have a penny to engage in your strategy call which you charge maybe $200. So but I tell them, okay, tell me what is it. And I don't say yes to everyone. I go and check their profile to check their authenticity, because my time is again crucial. I would invest it in the right person. So I go through their profile, ask for their resume. That is my way of giving back with the empathy in terms of the work I do. Because empathy is where, it's like you actually are able to help people and give back for the need that they are having based on whatever areas of expertise that you possess. So I think if you it's very important for us to understand that when we reach out to somebody, are we reaching out for sympathy, are we reaching out for help, are we reaching out for advice? And when somebody reaches out to you, it's for you to understand that the game here is to empathize and not give sympathy or maybe ignore. So I think it is always a two-way street. I I will sense when somebody reaches out to me, same way somebody else will sense when I reach out to them for something.
Now, with all the pointers that we are looking at, and with the rise of AI, how do you see LinkedIn evolving in the next 3 to 5 years? And what should the professionals be prepared? Because it is AI everywhere,
I
right?
know.
Now, even the platforms, the tools, the mundane jobs that are there, which are getting automated, it is all because of AI and tools, right? So, how do we look at professionals to prepare for?
Oh, I think this is something that we will explore. It will unfold, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Because I am telling everyone that if you are taking pride in saying, oh, I don't use AI for content creation, I'm sorry, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
because AI is a productivity based tool. You should use it. Why are you investing your hours when something can be done in minutes or seconds for that matter? So AI will enhance content curation,
Hmm.
but who's going to give them the clarity के बनाना क्या है, चाहिए क्या? That they can't do on your behalf. I need to know what I want AI to create. If I know that, I will sustain 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 50 years from now, irrespective of what technology comes. But if I am confused and if I leave myself to the hands of AI that, okay, you help me create something, then I'll be a clone of
Hmm.
1 lakh other people who are doing the same thing. So I think it is more about uh, getting the clarity and then using AI to enhance your productivity and effectiveness. Of course, efficiency will be an outcome which will come through that.
Yeah. Now, with that saying, how do leaders also leverage? Because leaders also, you made a point where I will not adopt, change is not what I want, I am the old school and stuff like that. In that case, how do we see the leaders leveraging AI to enhance their LinkedIn engagement without losing the human touch? Because when you go to AI, you are not talking on a human level. You are talking what it gives, and you talk on that and then forget. As you rightly said in the start, we take something, we put something, and then we forget
Correct.
without looking at the human centric part.
Right. So I think leaders can leverage AI and they are using it. I mean, a couple of them that I know
Hmm.
is using AI for research. If you're not, because AI is a great tool to go extensively in terms of the research, because I am a doctorate holder, I am a PhD, so I know what effort it takes to write a thesis, how many research papers you read, how you synthesize everything. It is unbelievable effort. But with AI, I can say I can do another PhD now. Otherwise, I would have said I'm done. मैंने जितना करना था, I have put in my whole heart into it, so I'm not doing it again. So AI is what leaders and everyone should use for research so that they are able to give more precise insights, more logical, more personalized, more customized, more in depth. But writing, engagement, conversation needs to be personal. Because if that is also AI driven, if storytelling is driven by AI, so it is some robot telling you what you are. You don't even know who you are. So I think that is where we need to stop. After research, you have to tell them what next. And that is where I feel, I mean, I am very excited about prompt engineering, because that is the real game. Do you, how close can you uh, you know teach AI, how close can you nurture AI, how close can you coach AI to understand what exactly you want to communicate? So the game is there.
I think your point is very clear. Now, you said right questions to be asked and stuff like. How important is storytelling in LinkedIn engagement, and how do we craft a story that resonates with the audience and use of technology together? So,
Very true. So, like I already said, people don't really remember facts. They
hmm,
always remember stories. So, when you tell them, it was my first interview when I was out of my college, this happened, that happened, and they're like, huh, right, right. This is also what happens with me. Instead of telling them when you move out of your college, you do these 3 steps, no one remembers that. So, to make a story memorable, I think the best way I do it is a RET framework, I call it. So, you make it relatable where people can relate to what you're saying. You add emotion to it. I was happy, I was sad, I was excited, I was whatever you were at that point of time. And then you give them a takeaway that this is what happened, this is what I felt. These are the places where they will relate to you. That I also feel scared when I go for something new. I also feel, pranks when I'm going for my interview. And then you give them the takeaway that now this is how you move to the next level when you are in a similar situation. So I think ret framework is something which has helped me devise my stories better, to be honest. So I think that way, if we approached with that, definitely it can give us great results.
Great, Sneha. Now, coming to the final question that I have to look at is, as a business owner or a
Mhm.
CEO, how do you see or use LinkedIn to position your company as an industry leader while keeping the focus on human connections? Because every company is putting a lot of content nowadays, right? So, how do we look at this pointer as a last pointer that we want to before we conclude the session?
All right. So, to be very honest, I believe in creating personal brands rather than company brands.
Okay.
People know Steve Jobs more than what they know about Apple. People know about Aman Gupta more than what they know about Boat. So maybe many people know Boat because of Aman Gupta rather than the other way around, right? So when I am trying to create my probably brand around around LinkedIn, my suggestion would be to, first of all, because people will relate with people. People will not be able to relate with companies, right? So people will relate with people when you as a person talk out that, okay, I am this, I am that. So you must focus. That is why we reach out to founders and tell them that, people will relate with you. They will buy your product later, they will buy your service later. First they must relate with you and your authenticity. So you create your personal brand first. After your personal brand is done, then we move to the next step of positioning ourselves as the business industry leader. Because I am a business owner, I have a private limited company, but I seldomly talk about that because my goal here is something else. I am creating a personal brand because people are going to connect with people, not with the companies, like I said. So you showcase your company's vision, the values, behind the scenes stories, everything, but keeping the personal touch in. If you talk about, okay, this is what happened at ABC Private Limited, nobody's worried about what is happening with ABC Private Limited, but people are worried about what is Sneha doing at ABC Private Limited. Not worried, but they'll be relating more to it because it's a personal brand. So the best tip that I could give them is that we must be authentic. Share your success story, failure story, challenges, and lessons. Keep it, I mean, we can call this as a, professional open book where you can share what were your downsides, how did it well, where did it go well, where did it not go well. Create your personal brand first, and then make people understand that this personal brand that you have now created, this is what is the company brand that it supports, so that they understand the vision that, okay, if Sneha is this and if this is her brand, they would see both of them in the same light. So I think if we use this kind of a approach, the chances of the brand getting recognized become more. Because even if you right now, if any of your audience can go and check on LinkedIn right now, the number of followers that Boat has is less than what the number of followers Aman Gupta has, for that matter, right? So I think that is where the game is. Personal branding is, the in. It's not branding anymore, it's the personal branding which we are doing. When probably a couple of years back when we studied, it was all about branding. They were like advertising, marketing, branding. Now the game is personal branding. Over to you. Thank you.
I'll just look at what we've spoken. I think a lot of insights. I don't know how much the audience have taken. I've taken a lot of notes in what we have gone through at the moment, and I would like to just give a small summary of what we spoke about. We spoke about beyond likes and comments, how to make meaningful this one connections and engagement. We spoke about LinkedIn is not just a tool, it is a kind of a brand that you can run and own it. And how do we play with vulnerabilities is what we spoke about. We spoke about hyper connected world on how things are there and how leaders are engaging. Where do we look at human interactions which are often missed when we are looking at online transactions? Then we spoke about some of the experience on the service surface level connections, and those are true connections that you should look at. And how do we avoid being in the crowd rather than being uh, and overwhelmed, right? And because we are seeing, and you made a very important point, is that why are you trying to engage with the diverse crowd? it is more to look at a specific crowd, your niche and your pointers. That is where we spoke about avoiding mistakes, some of the mistakes. Then we spoke about tools that we can use and stay relevant in the next 3 to 5 years. And we spoke about storytelling on LinkedIn. How do we craft a resonating story and stuff like that? And finally, we spoke about thinking about how important is being at the leadership and how do we network along with the business team. With this, I think we have covered the pointers that I had in my mind to talk with you, Sneha. And thank you for joining us. We would, well, to the audience, what we have done is we have streamed this podcast live to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We hope that you find this discussion valuable, and thank you for joining us. And our next episode is on the 25th of March, which is a cybersecurity episode, which is our 226th episode. Looking forward to see you there. Good day. Bye. Any final comments that you want to make before we conclude, Sneh or Sneh?
Thank you very much for having me, Prem sir. And I would just say that if you've heard me, please implement, because LinkedIn will automatically do nothing. It's algorithm. You need to be sitting in front of it, telling it what do you want. So you have to give the command to get the results. Otherwise, it will not go anywhere beyond that. So with those lines, wishing you all a great week ahead. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.